Quad leaders stand together for an open, stable, secure and prosperous Indo-Pacific region. A region where sovereignty is respected and all countries, large and small, benefit from a regional balance that keeps the peace. This is my 6th meeting with Prime Minister Modi in just the 1 year and now 1 day in which I have had the honour of serving as Prime Minister. That shows the strength of our relationship. My visit to India in March for the Australia-India Annual Leaders Summit focused on the key pillars of our relationship: trade, investment and business cooperation, defence and security cooperation, climate and energy cooperation, and of course, people-to-people links. In our bilateral meeting today, Prime Minister Modi and I further built on those pillars. We reiterated our shared ambition for an early conclusion of the Australia-India Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement later this year. Prime Minister Modi and I are pleased to have just witnessed the exchange of the Australia-India Migration and Mobility Partnership Agreement. This arrangement will promote the exchange of students, graduates, researchers and business people, expand our people-to-people ties and enhance cooperation in preventing people smuggling. Renewable energy was once again a focus and an important topic in our discussions, and I'm pleased that we have just witnessed the signing of the terms of reference of the Australia-India Green Hydrogen Task Force. The task force will comprise Australian and Indian experts in renewable hydrogen and report to the Australian-Indian Ministerial Energy Dialogue on the opportunities which are there for Australia and India to cooperate in this important area of renewable hydrogen. Investments like the task force will help power our industries in the future and ensure that Australia and India meet our energy targets in the interests of both our respective countries, but also in support of reduction of global emissions. Yesterday, Prime Minister Modi and I celebrated Australia's valued Indian diaspora communities at a rather extraordinary event, it must be said, at Kudos Bank Arena. And I was delighted to unveil with Prime Minister Modi a plaque for the foundation stone of Little India, a gateway in Harris Park in Sydney's western suburbs. I'm pleased also to celebrate the City of Perth and Western Australian government's decision to rename a road along Perth's Swan River in recognition of Private Nain Singh Sailani. Private Singh Sailani was one of 12 known Indian Anzacs who fought in the Australian Imperial Force during the First World War. When I was in India in March, I announced the appointment of the CEO of the Centre for Australia-India Relations, Mr. Tim Thomas. And last night I was very pleased to announce that the Centre has now commenced operations to be based in Parramatta. I'm also pleased to announce the establishment of a new Australian Consulate General in Bengaluru, which will help connect Australian businesses to India's booming digital and innovation ecosystem. And I welcome India's plans for a Consulate General in Brisbane. The Bengaluru establishment will be the 5th diplomatic presence that is there in India from Australia. I want to thank you again, Prime Minister Modi, for visiting and receiving such a warm welcome here. And I look forward to returning to India in September for the G20 Leaders Summit.
Thank you. Thank you. Prime Minister Albanese, delegates from both countries, friends from media, नमस्कार। ऑस्ट्रेलिया की मेरी इस यात्रा में मुझे और मेरे डेलीगेशन को दिए गए आदर सत्कार और सम्मान के लिए मैं ऑस्ट्रेलिया के लोगों का और प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीसी का हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं।
Prime Minister Albanese, delegates from both countries, friends from media, namaskar. I thank the Australian Prime Minister Albanese and the people of Australia from the bottom of my heart for a warm reception and respect extended to me and my delegation.
मेरे मित्र पीएम अल्बनीसी का हृदय से धन्यवाद करता हूं।
Delegates from both countries, friends from media, namaskar. I thank the Australian Prime Minister Albanese and the people of Australia from the bottom of my heart for a warm reception and respect extended to me and my
मैच्योरिटी को दर्शाता है। अगर क्रिकेट की भाषा में मैं कहूं तो हमारे संबंध T20 मोड में आ गए हैं।
I'm visiting Australia within 2 months of the visit of my friend, Prime Minister Albanese, to India. This is our 6th meeting in the past 1 year. This reflects a depth in our comprehensive relations, convergence in our views, and the maturity of our ties. In the language of cricket, our ties have entered the T20 mode.
एक्सेलेंसी, जैसा आपने कल कहा था, हमारे लोकतांत्रिक मूल्य हमारे संबंधों का मूल आधार है। हमारे संबंध आपसी विश्वास और सम्मान पर आधारित है। ऑस्ट्रेलिया में भारतीय समुदाय हमारे दोनों देशों के बीच एक लिविंग ब्रिज है। कल शाम मैंने और प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी ने हैरिस पार्क के लिटिल इंडिया का अनावरण किया। प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी की पॉपुलैरिटी को भी मैंने वहां महसूस किया।
Excellency, as you said yesterday, our democratic values are the foundation of our ties. Our relations are based on mutual trust and respect. The Indian community in Australia is a living bridge between our countries. Last evening, at the Indian community event, Prime Minister Albanese and I unveiled Little India of Harris Park. I could also sense the popularity of Prime Minister in the event.
फ्रेंड्स, आज प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी से वार्ता में हमने अगले दशक में अपनी कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप को नई ऊंचाइयों पर ले जाने पर बात की। नए क्षेत्रों में आपसी सहयोग की संभावनाओं पर विस्तार में चर्चा की। पिछले साल भारत ऑस्ट्रेलिया एकता लागू हुआ। आज हमने सीका कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक कोऑपरेशन एग्रीमेंट पर फोकस करने का निर्णय किया। इससे हमारे व्यापार और आर्थिक सहयोग को और मजबूती तथा नए आयाम मिलेंगे।
Friends, in my meeting with Prime Minister Albanese today, we talked about taking Australia-India comprehensive strategic partnership to greater heights in the next decade. We had detailed discussions on scope for cooperation in new areas. Last year, the India-Australia Economic Cooperation and Trade Agreement came into effect. Today, we have decided to focus on Comprehensive Economic Cooperation Agreement. This will further strengthen our economic partnership and open up new avenues for cooperation.
माइनिंग और क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स के क्षेत्र में अपने स्ट्रेटेजिक सहयोग को आगे बढ़ाने पर सकारात्मक चर्चा हुई। रिन्यूएबल ऊर्जा में सहयोग के लिए हमने ठोस एरिया की पहचान की। ग्रीन हाइड्रोजन पर एक टास्क फोर्स के गठन का निर्णय लिया। कल ऑस्ट्रेलियाई सीईओ से विभिन्न एरियाज में निवेश को लेकर मेरी उपयोगी बात हुई और आज मैं बिजनेस राउंड टेबल में ट्रेड, इन्वेस्टमेंट तथा टेक्नोलॉजी सहयोग पर बात करूंगा।
We had constructive discussions on strengthening our strategic cooperation in the sectors of mining and critical minerals. We identified concrete areas for cooperation and in renewable energy sector. We have decided to set up a task force on green hydrogen. Yesterday, I had useful discussions with Australian CEOs on investments in different areas. And in Business Roundtable today, I will discuss cooperation in trade, investment and technology.
आज माइग्रेशन और मोबिलिटी एग्रीमेंट पर साइन हुआ। यह हमारे लिविंग ब्रिज को और मजबूती देगा। जैसे कि मैंने कल घोषणा की थी, लगातार बढ़ते संबंधों की गहनता के लिए हम जल्दी ही ब्रिस्बेन में नया भारतीय कॉन्सुलेट खोलेंगे और जैसे आपने भी बेंगलुरु की घोषणा की है।
Today, we signed the Migration and Mobility Partnership Agreement. This will further strengthen our living bridge. As I announced yesterday, for our continued deepening relationship, we will soon open a new Indian consulate in Brisbane, just as Australia has announced opening a new consulate in Bengaluru.
फ्रेंड्स, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में मंदिरों पर होने वाले हमलों और अलगाववादी तत्वों की गतिविधियों के संबंध में हमने पहले भी बात की थी और आज भी हमने बात की है। भारत और ऑस्ट्रेलिया के सौहार्दपूर्ण रिश्तों को कोई भी तत्व अपने विचारों या अपने एक्शन से आघात पहुंचाए, ये हमें स्वीकार्य नहीं है। प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी ने इस संदर्भ में जो कदम उठाए हैं, मैं इसके लिए उनको धन्यवाद देता हूं। साथ ही उन्होंने मुझे एक बार फिर आश्वस्त किया है कि वो ऐसे तत्वों के विरुद्ध सख्त एक्शन लेते रहेंगे।
Friends, Prime Minister Albanese and I have in the past discussed the issue of attack on temples in Australia and activities of separatist elements. We discussed the matter today also again. We will not accept any elements that harm the friendly and warm ties between India and Australia by their actions or thoughts. I thank Prime Minister for the actions that have already been taken. Prime Minister Albanese has once again assured me today that he will take strict actions against such elements in the future also.
फ्रेंड्स, भारत ऑस्ट्रेलिया संबंधों का परिप्रेक्ष्य केवल हमारे दो देशों तक सीमित नहीं है। यह क्षेत्रीय स्थिरता, शांति और विश्व कल्याण से भी जुड़ा है। कुछ दिन पहले प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीज के साथ हिरोशिमा में क्वाड समिट में हमने इंडो पैसिफिक पर भी चर्चा की।
Friends, the scope of India-Australia ties is not limited to merely our two countries. It is also linked to regional stability, peace and global welfare. A few days ago, in Quad Summit in Hiroshima with Prime Minister, we discussed Indo-Pacific issues.
भारत ऑस्ट्रेलिया सहयोग ग्लोबल साउथ की प्रगति में भी लाभकारी हो सकते हैं। वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की भारतीय परंपरा, जो पूरी दुनिया को एक परिवार के रूप में देखती है, भारत की G20 प्रेसिडेंसी का मूल मंत्र है। G20 में हमारे इनिशिएटिव्स पर ऑस्ट्रेलिया के समर्थन के लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी का हृदय से धन्यवाद देता हूं।
India-Australia cooperation can be beneficial for the growth of Global South also. The Indian tradition of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam that views the entire world as one family is the central theme of India's G20 presidency. I thank Prime Minister Albanese from the bottom of my heart for Australia's cooperation for our G20 initiatives.
फ्रेंड्स, इस साल भारत में होने वाले क्रिकेट वर्ल्ड कप के लिए मैं प्रधानमंत्री अल्बनीजी और सभी ऑस्ट्रेलियाई क्रिकेट फैंस को भारत आने के लिए आमंत्रित करता हूं। उस समय आपको क्रिकेट के साथ साथ दिवाली की चमक और धूमधाम भी देखने को मिलेगी।
Friends, I invite Prime Minister Albanese and all Australian cricket fans to India for the Cricket World Cup this year. At that time, you will also get to see the grand celebrations of Diwali in India.
एक्सेलेंसी, इस साल सितंबर में G20 समिट के लिए आपका फिर से भारत में स्वागत करने के लिए मैं बहुत ही उत्साहित हूं। एक बार फिर आपका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Excellency, I am excited to welcome you again in India for the G20 summit in September this year. Once again, thank you very much.
పనేసియా మెరిడియన్ హాస్పిటల్స్ ప్రతి సామాన్యుడికి అందుబాటులో అంతర్జాతీయ వైద్య ప్రమాణాలతో వైద్యం, 24 గంటల అంబులెన్స్ సర్వీసుతో పాటు అత్యవసర సేవలతో ఏర్పాటైన చికిత్సా విభాగం. మా దగ్గర గుండె సంబంధిత, మూత్రపిండ, కాలేయ, కంటి జబ్బులకు, మోకాళ్ల శస్త్రచికిత్సతో పాటు కోవిడ్-19, బ్లాక్ ఫంగస్ వంటి వైరస్లకు, అన్ని రకాల ఆరోగ్య సమస్యలకు నమ్మకమైన అత్యాధునిక వైద్య చికిత్సను అందిస్తున్న హాస్పిటల్ పనేసియా మెరిడియన్ హాస్పిటల్స్. మీ ఆరోగ్య సమస్య ఏదైనా ఇప్పుడు పరిష్కారం సాధ్యం. సంపూర్ణ ఆరోగ్యం కోసం సంప్రదించండి పనేసియా మెరిడియన్ హాస్పిటల్స్, ఆపోజిట్ భీరంగూడ కమాన్, ఆర్సీపురం, సంగారెడ్డి డిస్ట్రిక్ట్, పిన్ కోడ్ 502032. సంప్రదించాల్సిన ఫోన్ నెంబర్ 0845524177 మరియు 7893757770.